This play is going to develop really quickly, so let's break it down before it gets moving. We could tell that the 49ers are probably going to be running zone because it's a base nickel alignment. That means we got 4 down linemen with a wide 9, which means this defensive end here is split out almost in the slot. We got 2 split linebackers, 2 split safeties, and 3 defensive backs. Or 3 cornerbacks, rather. The cornerback at the top of the screen is going to be walked off in a little bit of a more cushiony coverage, and then down low on the trip side, we've got closer coverage, but not close. We can tell it's not going to be man because these linebackers aren't walking out to align over the slot receivers, being CeeDee Lamb here and Ezekiel Elliott there. Now, the Cowboys are going to run a symmetrical route pattern where the slot receivers, the true slot receivers, so Hendershot here, or Schultz here, and Ezekiel Elliott there, are going to run kind of flats, and then the outside wide receivers are just going to get upfield trying to take these corners out of the play. It's basically going to be a flood to these short zones, and the ball should be getting out really quickly to one of those flats. CeeDee Lamb is going to run a curl to the sticks in the middle of the field as a safety valve, but that's not really viable because the vulnerabilities of this cover 2 defense that the 49ers seem to be running are the deep middle, which isn't viable on this play, and then floods to the short zones here, these flat defenders. It's called a flood because you have 2 receivers going to the same zone. Now let's let the play run, and I'll show you exactly what that looks like. So as the play develops, you can already see Zeke's first read is going to be to his right. That's perfectly fine. There's really no difference between the left and the right in this play, other than the right is closer, so it's an easier throw. Ezekiel Elliott's wide open. Right? Remember I said that the vulnerability is the flat zone being flooded? Well, that's what's happening because this outside receiver, I believe that that's Gallup, is not yet, he hasn't crossed this threshold, so this corner doesn't have to carry him deep just yet, which means that this defender isn't flying over to the sideline to cover Zeke yet, right? They can't match because they don't know what's going to happen here with Gallup. That means you throw the ball to Zeke, and he can basically walk to a first down with a yard after the catch. For whatever reason, Dak doesn't like it, and he starts to eventually turn his head and look to the middle at CeeDee Lamb. I think that's a poor read. I think it's very fair to tell him to throw this ball to Ezekiel Elliott here on 3rd down to get right up to the sticks. So even if Zeke falls as soon as he catches it, it's going to be 4th and a couple inches. You quarterback sneak that every time. So Dak waits too long. Zeke is now covered. He's run up into this curl defender, and Gallup has crossed over and is now going to be covered by the safety. Same with T.Y. Hilton here. That being said, Dak has reset and is looking at CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb is completely covered. You cannot throw that ball. Fred Warner is on his back, and Fred Warner has very long arms. If you throw this ball to CeeDee Lamb, there is no place on earth where CD can catch it and Fred Warner can't get a hand on it. Meanwhile, if Dak were to just continue surveying the field, because he knows the right side is gone, right? If it wasn't gone, he probably would have thrown it there earlier. I think you could, if you were Josh Allen or something, or maybe Mahomes, like throw the ball here to Gallup. You could get it into that tight window, but you have to have a ton of zip to beat this guy from breaking up your throwing lane, and it would have to be very accurate or else it's going to get picked. There's an easier solution, though. You already know the right side of the field's not going to work, and now you're seeing the middle won't work. You've got a clean pocket. Look left. Dalton Schultz is a long throw in that it's very far across the field. It's probably like 30 yards across the field. But it's wide open past the sticks. Sit him down, throw the ball right here, let him move to the ball, catch it, and get creamed by 38. I think that's Lenore, but I don't know. This is viable. He should have thrown it to Zeke right away. If he's not going to throw it to Zeke right away, he's got to throw that to Schultz right there. Instead, he tries to make something work with CeeDee Lamb, and it never was going to work. There was no reason to think it would work, and right here you can see the ball's in Jimmy Ward's hands. Jimmy Ward fucks up. Fred Warner does not. That's how a pick happens, and when you run a conservative, timing, rhythm-based offense that works by getting expectation-caliber plays completed at a high rate, you can't take risks like that. You can't make catastrophic mistakes like that, especially in the red zone, because that play right there is probably the difference in the game.